In the dead of night, as people sleep, that is when the spirits creep. As the bell tolls 3, dark things take power. We like to call it the supernatural hour. And now, our hosts.
Hey, Happy New Year! Happy New Year! You know, I think New Year was actually a few days ago, but hey, it's our first podcast of 2021, so it works, right?
It does work.
So, did y'all hear a new voice?
Weird.
We're going to bring on some guest hosts every now and then and introduce you to them. Before we introduce the new voice, though, we have here with us...
It's Doc again.
Yeah, we locked the door, but he seems to keep getting able to come in. So,
I am a persistent son of a gun.
And I guess I'm the gun.
Thanks, gun.
And with us is Rouge. She's actually one of our newer WISPs members, and she is awesome. We love her, so we're glad that she's here with us.
Thank you for having me. Should be fun.
We always have fun. So you have found yourself on the Supernatural Hour podcast, and we're glad you're here. So as far as residentials, we had 2 really good ones. I don't know that we've ever had a bad one, but these were just, I don't know, they just were good.
We've had some bad ones.
Yeah,
and I don't mean bad in like really spooky, weird. I mean bad as in like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like cat lady bad?
Dog man bad.
I see.
Dog bad, okay. Wow. All right. So, getting back to actual residentials that we've done. I had a lady who contacted me. I got an email from her. You know, she had some questions, and through talking to the questions, I said, well, do you want us to just come over? And she said, I would love for you to come over, but I live out of state. And so I said, oh, yeah, that's going to be a little rough.
Now, was she a Supernatural Hour listener? Is that how she found us?
Yes, she's one of our listeners. So a little shout out to you. You know who you are. I told her I wouldn't say her name. I said, well, you know, we live in the world and time of Zoom everything. I said, we could give it a try. We could try a Zoom investigation. I said, I'll be honest with you, we've never done this before, so I have no idea how this is going to work. But I said, what can it hurt? And she said, I'm game. And she was really cool. So we set up a time, sat down in our awesome podcasting room here, which is where all the computer stuff is.
This is awesome. Huh?
And
It is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, she's being nice. I said, okay. I said, I've got some equipment sitting out here. You know, I pulled out the K2 meter. I pulled out the Ghost Meter Pro, and I said, let's give this a whirl. And the spirits could not connect from her house through the Zoom to my equipment. It wasn't turning on at all. But we could use the dowsing rods because my spirit guide could talk to her spirit guide. You know, and so we asked Charles, if you're new, my spirit guide's name is Charles, and he can, you know, we talked to him through the dowsing rods, and I said, you know, are the spirits in her home trying to connect to the equipment here? And he said they were, but it wasn't working. They couldn't do it. So they tried. They gave it the good college try, but it was a no-go. So we did learn that. At least those spirits, you know, I'm up to trying a Zoom residential again, you know, if someone out of state wants something. But just know, you know, it
might be dowsing rod intensive rather than...
Yeah, I mean, we might not be taking
electronic.
any photos. We're not going to be able to do a whole lot of stuff. And we could try. Maybe stronger spirits could use the stuff.
What was it that she needed help with?
She is sensitive. With lack of being able to do a whole lot of, you know, getting pictures or taking EVP, you know, getting EVPs or anything. Again, it was just very dowsing rod centric. But we determined that there were 2 spirits in her home. I hesitate because I'm making sure I don't get these 2 residentials confused. And they both wanted to be crossed. And they had been trying to get her attention because she was very sensitive. And you could tell by some of the things that she said and some of the things that she was feeling and seeing that she was sensitive. We actually were able to talk her through crossing them. And Charles verified that they were crossed. It was kind of awesome. I thought I've never done that before. It was interesting. So then we referred her to Beaker for some energy healing because she felt like she had just some negative energy and some things that she needed cleared. And so we referred her to Beaker for that. And I haven't touched base with either of them to see how that went. Probably none of my business, really. But, I let her know that if she needed any other help, either get a hold of us again or Beaker for the energy clearing. Now, the other one, Rogue, you actually were with us on. It was in Lehigh.
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off on that one?
That was an interesting one to go out on. Nice young family, small little daughter, 2-year-old. They had us come out because that 2-year-old, I just remember Halloween face. That really just sticks with me. This little girl just keeps seeing apparitions.
And I think the way she put it, her mom said, was she'd walk down the hall and just kind of look scared and say, "Scary Halloween, scary Halloween."
Right? Just, I can't even imagine having my small child being terrified like we seen this family. And then for them to be such a young family and the husband, the dad, being scared to even take control of this house was really kind of an odd, I wanted to express to him, you have somebody that is teasing your child as if it was a human. Like you need to tell him to leave your daughter alone. That case was really interesting. We have the dog that doesn't want to come in the house. We found the demon downstairs, 3 portholes in that house.
There were, yes, there were the 3 portals. And then what I thought was interesting is we didn't encounter the dog. At least I didn't encounter the dog until the very, very end. And we had determined there was a type 3 in the home. We cleansed the house, and where we cleansed that type 3 out, because in the cleansing process you pick an exit point, and we were by that exit point, and the dog was outside. And it wasn't until this point we went down there, and it kind of started barking a little bit, and, not barking, but kind of, making dog noises, so we knew it was there. And I was like, oh, they've got a dog. When that type 3 finally went out the window that we had designated as the exit point, and I didn't notice this because I was, focused on something else, but one of the other investigators that came with us, as we were leaving, he said, did you notice that as soon as that type 3 went out the window, the dog just went crazy about the same time. It had kind of been quiet, and the dog went crazy. And then later, and I said, yeah, actually, I do remember that. Because I remember thinking, oh, the dog's out there going crazy. But I didn't really put the 2 together until he mentioned it. And I was like, oh, hey, yeah. Well, later, they let the dog in. And this was a big dog. The dog was, hi, friend, hi, friend, hi, friend.
Do you
very
remember
friendly.
when we went to let the dog in? Because I was actually the one that, can I please let this dog in? They're like, yeah, but the dog doesn't ever come in that door. The dog won't come in this room. They were very surprised because we had done the clearing and everything was gone. And that dog came in all jumping happy and excited to be
Yeah, and I think you're
house.
the one that pointed this out to me. You said to me that the owner said the dog usually just comes in the house and goes and lays down. And that
Yes.
he's never friendly and social when he comes in that, I don't know if it was that door. You're the one that talked to him.
Right, in that downstairs area where we had the 3, he, the owner of the house was scared to be in that room after dark. So it's a scary room for the humans as well as the dog, by all means.
Right.
How long had the family been in the home, or what were the circumstances behind?
They bought
what
the
was
home in
causing this?
May, so they've only been in the home for a few months.
So a pretty recent move-in.
Was it an older home or a newer home, or just curious?
It was newerish, probably the 1990s-ish
Yeah.
or 2000s.
Yeah, it hasn't been there for a long period of time.
No. So
Yeah, and that's one of those things. It doesn't matter whether they're newer or older or whatever. You can have a situation.
No, we had a brand new home about 4 or 5 years ago. The yard hadn't even been put in yet. It was a beautiful home, probably a $500,000 home easily.
Yeah, the big 9-foot ceilings and gorgeous
And
wood doors. And
The family lived there for 6 months and then moved back into their parents' basement because they'd rather live in the parents' basement than in that house.
Really?
There doesn't have to be some Satanist that lived in the house before you in order for there to be problems.
no.
Good to know.
Now, what we
Now that I'm moving this summer, probably. Great. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Hey, have us come over. We know a guy. We know people. So the other interesting thing about this one is I take pictures a lot at residentials, but I got some really good photos. And we also got a photo of one of our other investigators that was here. She's not here on the podcast. We're going to get her in on another one, but she actually got scratched. And we haven't had anyone scratched on a residential in quite some time. And I was trying to explain to one of our other team members about the scratch, but I wasn't there. And Rogue, you were, so I'm going to have you explain this one as well.
Okay. This is kind of like being on an investigation with you and just throwing me under the bus.
Exactly.
I'm okay
Rogue,
with that.
do this. That's what I do.
Well, the team had left the home and everybody was kind of outside talking, and I was the last to leave. The husband reached out and said, "Hey, there's a member of your team that has some scratch marks on her neck. Did she have that before?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so I yelled to the team and had her come up, and we looked at them, and she had 3 scratch marks on her neck. And then after that, we came down and we came and showed it to the team, and we got the photos.
We got some photos, and
And you can see those out on the...
I don't know that we've put them up yet. I think we were waiting for this podcast to get them up. Oh, no.
Don't you have them on your...
No,
your
on the Facebook pages.
Facebook
They're
page.
on the Facebook pages. I was thinking our website. They're not up on the website yet, but they are on the Facebook pages. And the interesting thing is we were actually just talking to her tonight, and she said that, and I think, Rogue, you may have mentioned this as well, it was right when we were pushing that type 3 out to the exit point, and she kept saying, "I feel something walking behind me or something touching me." She said she didn't feel it getting scratched, and most people don't. Most people, when they get scratched on an investigation, might have like a real slight burning sensation. I've never had anyone say, "Hey, I think I have just gotten scratched." Usually it's, something touched me, and then they're like, "Oh."
And something draws their attention to it. There's a little...
tingling
or something, but it's
sometimes
not
you'll hear a burn, but never, you never hear someone say, "I think I just got scratched." At least I haven't.
Right.
We also got some pictures, and the pictures are not up on the Facebook pages, but we will get those up on the website now that we've gotten past the holidays and have a little more time. But we did get some interesting pictures there.
Yeah, some great orb pictures. The father had just the previous night, he had been laying in bed, and one of his dresser drawers came open while he was laying there watching TV. And one of those pictures that you have is right there by the dresser where you can see the orb moving around.
Right. And typically, and you'll hear us say this all the time, if you send us a photo with an orb in it, just a nice circle orb, we don't want to discount it, but it's really hard to prove if it's an orb or if it's dust or light refracting, or we want to be really careful and make sure that we give you actual evidence and not and it's hard with just an orb. But the interesting thing about these is I'll hold my camera up and watch, and you watch where the natural dust flow of the room is, and I'm moving my hands as though you can see me doing it. Only
That
the people
direction, for sure.
the people in the room can see, but you watch and you see where the natural airflow is, and no matter how clean you keep your home, there's going to be some dust in there. Then as you're watching, when you see things that move in different directions than the dust flow, those are things that perk up your ears. And then you have to ask yourself, well, is it a bug? And bugs typically are kind of cigar-shaped, and they move, and this is going to sound really stupid, and y'all are going to laugh at me, but they move like bugs. You've seen bugs. Everyone's seen bugs fly. They have their movement, but you can tell when it's possibly paranormal because it doesn't move like a bug, and it doesn't move like dust. And there were so many of these. And I took a zillion pictures. Kaysen was with us, one of our new investigators, and the homeowner was, looking, everyone was, not everyone, but 2 or 3 people were looking over at the camera, and I said, I hope I got that on film. I hope I caught that in the camera, because, you could see it, and they're like, yeah, I can see those in there. I can see those moving. And we did capture, I think I've got 3, maybe 4 really good pictures where we did catch little things.
And isn't that the time when you actually seen something out of your peripheral, where you seen the movement?
Yeah, so we were sitting in the hall doing an EVP session, and I saw somebody walk out of the bathroom, and it was a shadow figure. It wasn't like a person; it was a shadow. But you never know. And the wife was right there, and I said, "Is there someone in the bedroom?" And she said, "No, there's no one in there." And I said, "I just saw someone walk out of the bathroom." So I went in just to make sure that it wasn't the husband that she didn't know was in there or something, and there was no one in there. And when I went in there, I was starting to take pictures in the area where I saw it. And as I was taking pictures, Kaysen was doing the EVP, because the spirit, there was a little boy spirit there as well. And the spirit that I saw was the little boy spirit. And this little boy spirit did not like me. But he did like Kaysen, and so he would not talk to me, but he would answer Kaysen's questions
Through the K2 meter?
through the Ghost Meter Pro.
Ghost Meter Pro.
And, he was, he would, and I heard Kaysen say, "Is that you that we just saw walk out of the bathroom?" And the answer was yes. All in all, a very, very, very good residential.
Yeah, it was very active.
Very active, very interesting. A lot of things that, sometimes you ask yourself, did I really see that, or did that really happen? So it was one of those investigations where almost everything that we did was almost instantly validated, or validated shortly thereafter. And those are always fun, because then, you've got your evidence, and then you get a backup of the evidence in one way or another, and you go, yeah. We might not hit everything, but we've hit a couple things here. So
Right. And then having it where we had how the dog was reacting and how the small child was reacting. So it had a lot of different avenues,
Yes.
So
Yes.
definitely
So-
interesting.
So, Chad, do you want to give us the business?
Yeah, the business. As we said in our last podcast, the Marcus Warehouse investigation was canceled because of some building issues. They're doing some renovations there, so we don't have that. We're trying to get something together early February-ish. Not sure exactly when that will be. Check the advancedparanormal.com webpage
Yeah,
for
we should have-
information there.
We'll try to have something up in the by the time you hear this, hopefully there will be something up, but hopefully in the next week or two we'll get something up. But between the canceling and holidays and life, it's been a little crazy, so.
And for the Supernatural Hour listeners, which you are, we have set up a Supernatural Hour patron account. If you want to help contribute to continuing to bring Supernatural Hour to you, please go to patreon.com, Supernatural Hour, all lowercase, and Supernatural Hour is just one word. Go out there and make a contribution if you'd like to. You can make a one-time contribution, or you can make a monthly patron pledge. Love to have you do that. You can also hit that from the Supernatural Hour page at advancedparanormal.com. There's a link there that you can just go in and it'll click the Patreon and it'll move right to it. And also, we encourage you to tell other people about Supernatural Hour and advancedparanormal.com and WISPs. We're trying to grow our listenership on Supernatural Hour. So anything that we can do to get people to listen, that's great.